possess of a great serenity of purpose. These cells have no way of discriminating except as they are taught. You will find that they are very trackable and most willing to be led or influenced by the truth. Many people have seemed actually to bound forth in response to this application of truth. Hundreds of billions of cells are impelled to do the right thing at the right time and in the right place, and verily they are obedient at all times as long as the individual is sincere. The life of man pushes forward, building, repairing, extending, and creating the new and the better with an irresistible urge and energy that is not comprehended by or found in inanimate things. It is found that there is an intelligent instinct and directing influence that pervades every cell of the human form. It does not matter how far that may seem to have wandered from this divine directing influence. It is our privilege to see them in this influence without giving any doubt to the outer or that which is holding them under the hypnotic spell. What a privilege it is just to see the one or all who are under the spell really endowed with that infinitely complex cellular structure called the human brain. That same brain has the capacity to carry man or all humanity to the very highest of attainments. What a divine privilege it is to see all humanity combined in this great structure of God-mind. Try this. I am of the noble God-mind, and see it open the windows of heaven and let it pour out such a blessing that it fills completely every avenue of expression. All those who are faithful need say, God, I am the knowing principle of all things. This opens the eye to the universal abundance that never fails. Try it, knowing positively that you must succeed. As Elijah did, hold out the cup until it is filled to running over. Never doubt the capacity of the one mind. It is always ready to bring forth these wonders as humanity aligns itself with God-mind. As such, humanity has been traced with sufficient evidence to satisfy scientists for at least 1 million years. But let us see that this period is but an established minimum, for man goes back to an antiquity far beyond all human understanding. You can readily see that you are capable of extending your vision with the inclusions of God-mind, or the one mind, to furnish all humanity with a background or build-up that has maintained true to man and to divine mind, and how readily you are able to attach your thinking process to divine mind by declaring, God, I am divine mind, then knowing definitely that your statement is true and in full accord with divine law and principle. In this way, you are fully aware that heaven is all around you. Now is the opportune time to know that all are as free to accomplish this as you are. Now realize that matter was never conceived until thought set it up as a reality. Remember that matter never smiles. Neither does it have any power or energy to rule or master itself. It is also devoid of instinct or volition of its own. It is foreign to all other substance. The bird actually sees its destination of migration and thus does not need an instrument to guide it. That instrument is right within those tiny brain cells. How much greater can the same instrument guide you? For it is right within your brain cells, and mind is in direct control as soon as man knows that he is in full control of mind action. The bird, although it flies over 1,000 miles of open water, never loses its direction. Man has this same sense of seeing, but he has lost the ability by putting it out of his thought structure. Nothing is ever lost from divine mind. This is the very reason that it belongs to man, for man is as divine as mind. Thus he will never deviate from truth or be at a loss to accomplish all things when he again joins with divine mind. The animal has never lost instinct and intuition for the very reason that it is incapable of building up an adverse thought structure. When a dog is set upon the trail of a man or beast, he is incapable of thinking, "Can I do this?" Consequently, he goes forward and follows that trail until something happens that obliterates the scent or the goal is reached. Man is far more capable than the animals or the birds, yet he permits himself to sink lower than the animal. With the true perception of man's fully equipped makeup and his full understanding of his complete inclusion within God or divine mind, man is readily capable of moving from position to position with unbounded velocity. His brain is now fully equipped with true mind, and as he cooperates with true mind as all-seeing and all-knowing, he scales every height instantly and perfectly. There are no wanderings. The path is clear. The evidence is revealed with certainty and sureness. You can put out your hand and feel God. Put your hand on your own form, and you both see and feel God. As you may have passed 100 or 1,000 people during the day, in going about your affairs, you have seen God 100 or 1,000 times. This may be repeated each day. Keep God close to you by seeing every living form as God. Then God will be so close to you that you will never again closet God in some far-off celestial realm or temple, and you will find the temple not made with hands. You will also find that your body is the first and greatest temple ever built, and that it is the only temple wherein God abides. Then see the conquering Christ and God-man within this temple. This is the very life that maintains your body. Take God away or separate one from the other, and your body would die. Man has built up all of the great temples that have ever existed or do exist upon the earth, but he has never duplicated this great body temple. It is not only the greatest laboratory ever built, it also has the power of duplicating itself. Man has defiled this body temple to the utmost, even to the place where he is obliged to lay it down in so-called death. Yet it rises again triumphant. Man under limitation is unable to build a human eye, but let man throw off every limitation, and he is able to build or renew an eye or any part of the human body, even to overcoming death. There is a divine intelligence and principle, but it was never set up by one being or one man. It was set up by a great civilization of hundreds of millions of people. This thought was set up so dynamically that it saturated every atom of the entire universe as well as every atom of the human body, also with a directing influence upon all things. It was also set up with such power that it became a directing force of mind action, where nothing changes. Thus it impressed its power upon every cell of the human form, and the light which denotes this divine intelligence was centered in the first cell, to the extent that divinity has been passed on from generation to generation for billions of years without a change in the real divine image of each unit of humanity. It will go on unchanged for 100 billion years, as it is established or immutable law. And an established law in the cosmos is unchangeable. Law should be Lord, as there is but one law, one Lord for all established mind action. Man is the Lord in full control of divine law. Out of this great action came millions of years of peace and thorough contentment. Each one was the conquering Christ King of his own domain, yet a willing helper and worker, with no thought of self or selfish ends in that which was the good for all. As an abundance of all things were there for all to use. Then, groups claiming free will of thought and action began withdrawing unto themselves. They longed for a change. They wanted to know of material things and to think of themselves rather than for the entire group. Thus, larger numbers withdrew from the main household, as it was called in that time. Finally, the groups of dissenters combined and grew to the extent that their thoughts became chaotic, until the natural elements were thrown into chaos, and a great eruption took place within the sun, which lasted for at least 1,000,000 years. At different intervals had come the planets and stars of our solar universe. Yet prior to this chaotic condition, humanity had already set up in definite mind action such a divine balance that to chaos has come order, so divinely exact and perfect that the place any star or planet will occupy at any time can be mathematically determined to the second. This balance is so perfect that there has been no variation for 1,000,000,000 years. This certainly indicates eternity. Thus you can readily recognize perfect law or Lord in action. And it came into being through a great civilization of the human family and through their united will of perfect understanding through the civilization. To this divine understanding was given the word or name God. It was fully known that this word could be intoned at the greatest vibratory frequency, as it was placed at the head of all language. In the beginning, the word in no way represented a human form, but it did represent a great divine principle set up by the entire human race. This race lived in heaven, as heaven to them was and is the ever-divine principle and harmony within the human form, which is the mind called God. From this word, knowing its divine origin and precepts, every divine condition does come to humanity. This divine, just, and perfect law or Lord reigns throughout the entire universe. You now see it throughout the entire solar system, but we know that it is just as positive throughout the entire human kingdom, as well as in the plant, mineral, and animal kingdoms. During this chaotic disturbance, nearly all of those who had withdrawn from the great group were destroyed. Those who were left of this group were obliged to seek shelter in caves and wherever they could find protection. Food became scarce, and just the matter of food became so pressing that a large percentage became cannibals. These conditions which they brought upon themselves, and which not only separated them from the great group, but from each other, forced them to form tribes in order to exist, thereby causing them to forget all of their former knowledge, and so they became nomads. These were the forefathers of the race which is called material. And although this separation has carried on for well over 1,000,000 years, there still remains something which may be called a half-instinct through which they feel that they have been a part of the divine plan. Many of these are fearlessly coming forth today and freely proclaiming their lordship, and a portion have advanced to the point where they are entirely free from all bondage. Those who did stand together in the great group went through all of these chaotic changes in perfect peace and composure without any loss of divinity, as they knew that divinity could never be lost or taken from them. For all this, they are in no way claiming any selectivity, neither do they claim any power above that which all can use. During the period that this great civilization reigned upon this earth, and the great land areas, as well as the seas, were peaceful. There were no land or sea disturbances. The breezes were gentle and invigorating, and all of the people traveled at will wherever they wished, as there was no weight or cumbrance, no limitation of time or space. They thought in terms of eternity. All thoughts and words were put forth as divine precepts, and to such a definite purpose that they were firmly fixed fixed and definitely recorded as precepts in divine mind. And these were the foundations and bulwark of a great reservoir that could be drawn upon for every supply, every action, and every undertaking. Thus man had at hand a universal supply for every undertaking and every accomplishment, for all humanity was looked upon as God-man and the Trinity. Our completion, our focal point was God, the conquering Christ, God-man, the Trinity, complete in all. There was not a negative word in the language, neither was there a word for a past or a word for the future. All was here and now and completely accomplished and finished. All of the accomplishments that humanity is struggling with today in order to return to that high estate have been accomplished by this so-called higher civilization. And all of the accomplishments are recorded in record form and are accessible to humanity as soon as they will look beyond this so-called material age with its welter of divided precepts and personal accomplishments. All of these accomplishments are perfected and fully recorded definitely in the great storehouse of universal mind substance. They can be called forth by mankind as soon as they still the clamor of those who through their own free will forged the calamity. The greatest hope is for the future generation. It is quite evident that the younger generation is physically, mentally, as well as mechanically the best of all timber. All that is lacking is courtesy and judgment tempered by experience. These qualities will bestow maturity. The greatest substitute and guide is habit, for a good habit is as easy to acquire and as difficult to break as a bad one. It is a well-organized thought by those who are the survivors of that great civilization that had every individual been carried out by those great chaotic disturbances, that the precepts were so definitely thought out and so thoroughly recorded in the universal mind substance that not one thing would have been lost. It is a well-known fact that every positive word set forth with a true meaning and definite intent is so fully and intelligently recorded in divine mind substance, which we call God-mind, including every action and tone, that it can be recalled. Also photographic records made to the degree that all may see and hear all of these events. It is a well-known fact that a portion of this great civilization has survived and preserved their identity, although they have withdrawn into more or less seclusion. Nevertheless, they are awaiting the time, which is not far distant, when they may come forth and proclaim their identity. It is now stated that this time will be when a sufficient number have let go of their preconceived ideas of a personal God, or great being outside of themselves, and accepted the Trinity, God, the conquering Christ, God-man, in all, and capable of being set forth through and by all mankind. These records can in no way be buried or distorted, neither can so-called time distort them. These are no miracle or superhuman experiences. They are natural, fixed conditions. In fact, they are of the same fixed laws that govern and rules all of the planetary systems of the universe. The wonder is that this law and its influence speak more loudly than any words the greatness of man's ability to achieve. The great beauty and purity of it all is that this was in no way a great dominating or supernatural race, just as you and I today, all in the same image and likeness, the same and one God. Then let us all worship together this one great noble God-man, looking first for God in all, then seeing the conquering Christ in every face, uniting all in God-man, knowing that every image that is set up outside of man is but an idol with feet of clay that is readily broken by the spoken word. With this you can clothe all science and all religion with the same garment from the one source, as all is one truth. Truth is the law of all science. By thinking divinity, man establishes divinity within himself and also adds to the great reservoir of cosmic energy and force, that force becoming a great power within itself. You are capable of setting up just such a force and building it to a higher degree of activity. There are millions adding to that force all of the time, and you can join them if you will.